Hey Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. And today, let's go ahead and answer all of your mailbag questions. As you guys submitted on a previous video just a couple of days ago using the hashtag Eagles, had a lot of very good questions. These were the best ones that I could pull in the allotted time frame. So go ahead and start with Terry, who asked, talk about the impact of no Malcolm Jenkins and who will take over his hybrid role. Okay, this is very, very interesting overall. I've talked about this probably multiple times here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. But the first thing here is not having Malcolm Jenkins will have a significant impact both on the field and in the locker room. Make no mistake, Malcolm Jenkins was the heart, soul, and really the true leader of the Philadelphia Eagles, at least in my opinion. Now, there are, of course, other vocal leaders in the Eagles locker room and in the Eagles organization, but it's hard to pick one that's not named Malcolm Jenkins as the best one overall. Now, the stats were great too, and he was extremely healthy, played on special teams. I mean, he did everything you could possibly ask and more. I was very sad to see Malcolm Jenkins leave because it does create a hole in the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. Now, talk about who will take over his hybrid role. The most likely option right now is going to go ahead and be Jalen Mills. He's my starting safety right now in the Eagles depth chart. The question is going to be, though, could you move Jalen Mills to cornerback, or I guess keep Jalen Mills at cornerback, and then move a rookie like Kayvon Wallace into that spot and go ahead and have him be the hybrid guy? He was a great, safety in the box, in the slot, back at safety. At Clemson, can he assume that role his rookie year? Probably not, but your only other option there, of course, is Jalen Mills, and Jalen Mills is going to be probably thrust into that position, and that would be my guess. So in terms of taking over his role, it'll probably be Jalen Mills. In terms of taking over his leadership role, that's got to go to somebody else. Whether Riley McLeod becomes a vocal leader, Darius Slay, it's Fletcher Cox on the defense, Brandon Graham. There are a lot of verbal leaders. It's just a matter of who is going to be the top leader, the number one leader on the Eagles defense. We're going to have to wait and see who that happens, but I'm telling you, the Eagles will be missing Malcolm Jenkins, at least in some capacity. There's a reason he got a big contract from the Saints. He was just that good and a huge part of the Eagles' success over the past couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, the answer is pretty much simple. It's Jalen Mills, Kayvon Wallace, and that's basically your two options right now. Okay, will the Eagles miss Malcolm Jenkins in 2020? It's simple. Type Y down below for yes. Type N down below for no in the comment section. All right, moving on. More questions here. Let's see. Strange Flicks asked, I think Carson Wentz will be a top 5 quarterback next year. Get this question a lot. It was asked multiple times in the video, so I pulled Strange's question first. The short answer is yes. I really think that he will be. And I think right now, if you're going to go ahead and draft quarterbacks based on who's available right now, Carson Wentz would probably be the third quarterback taken off the board in terms of young quarterbacks with the most talent going ahead of him. Now, talking about who's going to be a top 5 quarterback this season, you can make the argument that he should be there, but there are obviously some older quarterbacks who are going to be placed above him if you were to actually go ahead and rank these sort of things. So I went ahead and Googled Pro Football Network, and they went ahead and did their list of the top 10 quarterbacks entering 2020. It looks like this. They have Wilson at 1, Mahomes at 2, Breeze at 3, Rodgers 4, Watson 5, Stafford 6, Matt Ryan is 7, Lamar Jackson is 8, Kirk Cousins is 9, and there is Carson Wentz at number 10. So, listen, is this offensive to Carson Wentz? Should we be like, oh my gosh, Carson Wentz has got to be in the top 5? That's ridiculous. You can, but you can also make an argument for each one of these quarterbacks. I mean, Russell Wilson, right? One of the most consistent and best leaders on the football field. Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, should really be number 1. Drew Brees is aging, but is still elite. All numbers seem to indicate that. Rodgers is aging, but still elite. Watson is young, but does he have the right coaching? I mean, you can go down the list here and make an argument why this quarterback should be above that quarterback, but if you're asking me if he'll be a top 5 quarterback, I think 100% yes. We showed the stats earlier. He balled out last year throwing to lawn furniture and office chairs. Like, literally, there was nobody for him to throw to and still balled out. He has people to throw to this year. They stay healthy. Look out, Carson Wentz will be a top 5 quarterback in 2020. Do you agree with me? If you do, type Y down below for yes, type N down below for no. And speaking of Carson Wentz and really all of the Eagles, there's a Flash Eagle jersey sale going on right now at chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. All jerseys, limited time only, so you got to go quick, are up to 30% off right now. You got Wentz, you have Deshaun Jackson, obviously one of the targets that should be healthy for him going into the 2020 season. You have Zach Ertz, the new defensive players. I mean, every single Eagles jersey is up to 30% off right now. They're all authentic Nikes. This is not the knockoff stuff you get from overseas. This is the real deal. chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. Okay, Sue Prime Banana asks, who's defensive player want the Eagles to sign? Clowney, Logan Ryan, or Everson Griffin? listen, I've talked about this many times here. Jadeveon Clowney is the best player on this list. I would love any one of them. The question is, do the Eagles have the money to go and afford them long term? We've talked about their cap situation. I think we'll talk about it here with a later question. Eagles don't have a lot of money to spend on players next season, so I'd love a guy for a one-year deal, but that's about all you can possibly pay for right now due to the salary cap restrictions going forward. So I would pick Everson Griffin because he'd be the cheapest on this list, but obviously you'd rather have Jadeveon Clowney because he's the best player. I don't think they're going to get any one of them, so don't get your hopes up. I think the Eagles roster is set in stone as it is right now, minus maybe like an old cheap running back. Okay, pick one here though. If you guys had to pick one, I like to ask these questions and gauge you guys on your thoughts. Which one would you rather have? Type C down below for Clowney, R down below for Logan Ryan, or G down below for Everson Griffin. If you had to pick one of the three, who would you guys rather have? Again, the problem is money, and the Eagles don't have a lot to spend in 2021 and beyond. They're $51 million over the cap, and so if you wanted to get a one-year rental, Everson Griffin's your best option because he'd be the cheapest going into the 2020 season as we stand. Let's see here. Mark Walker asked, who would you keep, Goddard or Ertz? I think we should trade Ertz. They will both be up for an extension at the same time. Okay, interesting. So Carson, so both of them obviously have 2 years left on their deal. Now the Ertz deal is the new contract that he signed a couple of years ago, the 5-year, $42.5 million deal, which was huge at the time. $8.5 million in average salary. Right now it's a little low because Gronk's paid higher, Hunter Henry's paid higher, Austin Hooper's paid higher, Rudolph is paid higher. So he's got 2 years left on that deal. Still makes good money though. Like, let's be honest. Not like Zach Ertz is grossly underpaid by any sort of tight end payment metrics, and he's a great player. Now, Dallas Goedert's on his rookie contract. He makes like $1 million, less than $1 million this year. I think you try and keep both. I think having both, there are arguments for both, but as we talked about in an earlier video, if 2 years down the line, Goddard is as good as Ertz, you take Goddard because he's younger. It's as simple as that. And if that's going to be the case, you can determine that this season because then you'd want to trade Zach Ertz starting off next year. That way it's 1 year before his deal and he doesn't walk for free. Does that make sense? It all depends on what Dallas Goedert does this year. Goddard has progressed every single year, has gotten better from rookie year to sophomore year. If he's even better this year, then you make the argument you want to keep him over Ertz. But that's a long way to go because Ertz has been better statistically every single season and really, let's be honest, has been statistically one of the best tight ends in the league for a very long time. Be sure to subscribe to Philadelphia Eagles now if you guys have not already. We're approaching 11,000 subs here. We're very close. Like, hopefully by the weekend, we'll have 11,000 subs here on Philadelphia Eagles now, so go ahead and click that red subscribe button and the notification bell. We would greatly appreciate it. Connor asked, who do you think will have a better career, Reagor or Jackson? Okay. Well, listen, before I give you my answer, you guys pick one. Who is the better wide receiver overall right now? Type JR for Jalen Reagor, type DG for Deshaun Jackson. The question's a little bit unfair, though, because the problem is you go, okay, well, Deshaun Jackson's had a much more historic career in terms of he's been in the league longer and has put up some really big numbers and has been a really good receiver when healthy. Now, Jalen Reagor's entering his rookie year, so we have no idea how great Jalen Reagor is going to be, despite the fact that a lot of us think he's going to be very good. It's kind of an unfair question because who knows? Now, if you want to talk about health, I think Reagor will probably be healthier than Deshaun Jackson just because he's been healthier in the past, at least in college, and Jackson's been an injury-prone machine his entire career. And if both stayed healthy, it'd be Deshaun Jackson, but if one stays healthy, I'd pick Jalen Reagor because Reagor will probably be healthier for longer. It's a tough question. I mean, hopefully they're both good this year. Hopefully they both complement each other. They both ball out, and they both help the Eagles have a much better receiving core than what they had last season. I'm excited for Jalen Reagor. I'm more excited than whenever they drafted him. I wanted, CeeDee Lamb. I wanted Denzel Mims. I wanted Brandon Ayuk. There were a bunch of other receivers I thought were better, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Reagor this offseason. I think both of them are great, and both are going to be fine in 2020. Okay, one more. Todd McGladry asks, you could take any former Eagles, this is a good one, best for last year, this is good. If you could take any former Eagles player and put them on the team right now, who would it be? I'm thinking Reggie White or Brian Dawkins. Okay, I'm going to simplify this because if you go, throughout history, it's way too easy. It's Reggie White because Reggie White's the best Eagle of all time, probably one of the best players of all time in the National Football League. So what we're going to do, and I'll ask you guys this first, who's the best Eagle of the past 20 years? So start at the year 2000, right? And then go to 2020. So the year 2000, I was 4 years old, and then go to now in 2020. So I want to see the past 20 years. Who would you guys pick? Okay, give me your thoughts in the comment section down below right now. Now, I will give you my pick. The problem is that I wanted to give you guys my top 5 because it's too hard to pick one. Here's the deal. here's my top 5. The top 5 players of basically my lifetime, of my generation, growing up in the past 20 years. Dawkins, Westbrook, Trotter, McNabb, and Owens. Now, you can make the argument, and any one of these should be flip-flopped. Say Dawkins is 1 and Brian Westbrook is 2, but you can flip these back and forth either way. I don't care. These are the best 5. Now, you see the honorable mentions down below. John Runyon, Trey Thomas, Asante Samuel was very, very good. Hugh Douglas, who I know personally, is very, very good. I mean, there are a lot of options overall in terms of who's the best player. Now, if you're talking about who you want on the Eagles right now, based on need, it's Brian Dawkins or Jeremiah Trotter, because the Eagles could use a safety to replace Malcolm Jenkins, and they really could use a linebacker. They don't necessarily need a running back, even though Brian Westbrook was fantastic, or they don't need a quarterback. They don't need a wide receiver, even though T.O. was fantastic despite his 1 year in Philadelphia. So it's hard to break this list down, but it's fun to look back in the history of the Eagles and talk about who was good and who was not good and who was overrated and underrated. Asante Samuel is grossly underrated. Samuel is one of the best shutdown cornerbacks in the history of the National Football League. Statistically, look it up. One of the best overall. Was fantastic in Philadelphia, especially during the late 2000s in terms of 08, 09, and 2010. He was great. He'd be great on the Eagles right now. But I guess the question is, who do you want on the team right now? You go from my list of 5, I would definitely pick either Brian Dawkins or Jeremiah Trotter, because those are the 2 biggest needs right now on the Philadelphia Eagles. But, I mean, Westbrook was great. T.O. would be great on the outside with Carson Wentz if he wanted to be an Eagle and wasn't, being a diva. Samuel, Runyon, Trey Thomas, the list goes on and on. Great question, a fun question. I'm going to be reading the comments down below. I'm going to respond to comments as well, so give me your guys' thoughts on the best Eagle for the past 20 years. I want to hear from you guys. There you go, though. All the time we have for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. A fun mailbag today, as we always like to do. Stay tuned for more great content in the coming days and weeks. For Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off for the rest of your day.